New Orleans football is a site. Go ahead and sign up today. Let's start with the conversation we were just teasing. Nick, I want to get into the injury news and get into what the film review showed. But first, the quarterback conversation. So I don't know if you heard the setup there, Nick, but I basically said that, look, I have been on Team Jameis, but I've approached it as much from I just love Jameis's personality and I believe in his work ethic and all these things. I haven't always just framed it through a football-centric mindset. I feel like when you have advocated for Jameis Winston, it has been purely about the football. Now that you've watched football between the two quarterbacks, has your mind changed on who should be the starting quarterback of this Saints team?
Well, I mean, I don't think that we've seen healthy Jameis. So, I mean, that kind of makes it a little bit harder to evaluate it through what we've seen. They started out poorly week one, and he was healthy during that. So, I mean, that is on him a little bit, but it's just tough to really know. I mean, the ankle's as much of an issue as the back. And I think against Carolina, some of them blitzes, like him just being a sitting duck in the pocket and not being able to drift from that, I think that has to do with some immobility in the lower leg. But, I mean, during the offseason, when you kind of start believing in him and everything, it is some of the stuff you're seeing off the field. It's the things he's saying. It's the intangibles. And it kind of makes you think, like, all right, he's putting it together. And I think everybody everywhere has always been looking for that thing where everything clicks for him, because the talent is immense. And it isn't an issue of ability. It's just an issue of going out there and putting everything together. And, I think as long as he has the talent in the arm, like, he's going to keep getting chances to do that, because everyone's always going to believe, like, hey, I can be the guy to do this. Right now, looking at him, unhealthy Jameis versus healthy Andy Dalton, I think it's kind of I don't want to say an easy decision, but I think you stick with what's working now. And, I think that there are some things that the offense has figured out in general, independent of the quarterback, that kind of has made things a little bit easier the last couple of weeks. They did just play the 32nd ranked defense, so that might not be apples to apples comparison, but I like a lot of what Andy Dalton's doing. He's kind of gotten more rhythm into the offense, and I think that style of play. I think his style of play fits with, some of the weapons that the Saints have, maybe a little bit more naturally. And, just getting the ball to Alvin is the thing that this offense should just be doing. I mean, they got him one screen pass. He takes it, 54 yards, and the last 35 are all Alvin. He got good blocking to spring him, but it's his vision, his ability to step out of tackle. So if you can have a quarterback that can just do that and make it easy and limit mistakes, I think that's kind of what you roll with. And, Jameis might get back and do that. I know the team doesn't feel like they've had a full evaluation of him. I don't think they're done with him by any means, but, I think until he's completely 100% healthy, it's an easy decision. I think you stick with Dalton. I don't think you force anything, and, you let him kind of do what he does. And then when everybody's healthy and you're looking at it, I think you make the evaluation of who's going to make the least amount of mistakes and who gives this defense, which after this week is kind of a tough statement to make, but who gives this defense the best chance to win games and not put us in bad situations. And I think that's kind of what it'll come down to. And I think when it's time to make that decision, they'll have enough evidence on Dalton and Jameis to really know. And I think it probably should be clear. I don't think it'll be hard for them to figure that out, because Jameis's upside is immense, but the downsides is really where this thing's going to be evaluated.
So I agree. Look, on the Kamara front, that was my favorite part about Sunday, was seeing Kamara have a Alvin Kamara game, right, and getting the ball to him, like you said. But Nick, is it if I want to be reductive, is it this simple? Dalton just gets the ball out of his hand.
Yeah, I mean, he does. He is doing that, and that's important. I think it's helped the offensive line look a little bit better. And there were a couple things, and I hate to do this, but I mean, you look at what Dalton's doing behind the line of scrimmage, and there was one play that really stood out to me. He's reading the blitz. He makes an adjustment, signals to Alvin. Alvin moves over, fills the A gap, kind of catches the guy coming through. Alvin did not get a good block at all, but the fact that there was an adjustment there is something that I felt like we didn't really see earlier in the season. So, I mean, these are the little details, the little things that lead to success, and maybe more chemistry, more time, everybody settling in. Maybe Jameis is at that point too. Maybe things are working a little bit better somewhere else, and home game, it's a little bit easier to call things and all that stuff. So there could be other factors, but there are little things that I feel like we're seeing happening that helps, that contributes to success. So I think it's getting the ball out, protecting yourself, not making mistakes. All those things. I don't want to say that they're going better because Dalton's made some pretty bad mistakes. You know, the interception was pretty bad. The fumble was pretty bad. He dodged another bad interception against Minnesota. So it's not all clean or anything like that. But, you know, I think there are some things that have happened the last 2 weeks. Along with Pete Carmichael, I think maybe kind of figuring out what they got to do to win these games. You know, I think that's a huge factor too. Leaning on the running game, I think, helps the passing game, not getting behind early. And again, that's somewhat opponent driven. You know, but all those things, I think that there is a little bit better of a climate for success the last couple of weeks. But I mean, yeah, Dalton just it kind of feels like they're more in rhythm, that they've found that identity with him at quarterback. So like I said, right now, until there's somebody knocking down the door, I don't think you hurry anything. I think you're comfortable where you're at, and you know, I think he gives them you know, a solid chance to win every week.
All right, Nick, let's go over the injury list, which is long and distinguished. I mean, this thing has some stars on it. It's not just Jameis Winston. It's Michael Thomas. It's Peyton Turner. It's Marcus May. It's Jarvis Landry. It's Chris Olave. It's Deontay Hardy, right? So some of your key players obviously end up on the injury report. What is the latest with all of the players that we just kind of threw out there? Because obviously they're guys you're counting on.
So, yeah, I mean, let's start with Marshawn. Dennis Allen said that he'll be okay, and they'll see how he responds this week. You know, behind the scenes, I've kind of heard a little bit more of a more grim picture on the availability for this week. So we'll see how that actually kind of plays out. You know, if he can't play, that's a tough hit. You know, I think one of the more disappointing things to start the season is you know, Paulson Adebo looked incredible in training camp, and he hasn't looked the same to start the season since he got healthy. You know, I think some of that has to do with the safety play as well. That's been kind of disappointing, and especially last week with May out. You know, I think May's getting closer to coming back. He's at least been at practice. He's been around. He isn't, you know, one of those invisible guys. When they're invisible, it's kind of, you know, a distance from playing. So I think he'll be back probably sooner than later. There's been some optimism that this could maybe be the Mike Thomas week that he comes back. So that would be, you know.
Hey, Nick, why was he not at the game? Sorry to cut you off there. Like, I saw he was tweeting during the game, which he was engaged. He was watching the game, but typically for a home game, if you're injured, like you're on the sideline, was there like a reason? Was he in the stadium? Do you know? Like, was he maybe in a suite, a booth, something?
I didn't see him. I don't know where he was at. I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that. Usually, you see these guys around. You'll see him at halftime getting a hot dog if you don't see him on the sideline.
True.
Maybe Mike was in a booth and just didn't get hungry. You know, I don't know. But I didn't see him, so I can't really speak on that. I don't think, you know, I don't think there's anything weird going on though. That has been like a Saints fan theory. You know, I don't think I saw him at the London game either, and then I saw him in the locker room afterwards. So I don't know where he's watching these games from, but yeah, I don't think there's anything weird going on there. I don't think anyone's at odds. I think he's still bought in. Everyone's happy. Deontay Hardy, I don't expect him maybe to play again for a while, if at all. He's got a turf toe injury, and you know, they think that's pretty serious, and they're kind of bracing for the worst there. Going to be a second opinion. Who else going down the list? Olave's probably in the concussion protocol. We'll see on Wednesday. It's a long list, man. And
Landry?
This is a bad
Did
week
you mention Landry? I know we touched on Mike Thomas. Did you mention Landry?
Yeah, you know, the Landry thing's weird because on Friday, DA told us that he felt good about his status for Sunday, and then he just didn't play. So I don't know. That was kind of a weird thing to play out there. But yeah, I think he probably has a shot to get back out there this week. I don't think he's too far off either.
Nick, have you engaged with at all, or what are you getting of the storyline ahead of this Bengals game? Which, I mean, by the way, losing Marshawn Lattimore right before Jamar Chase comes down, what the hell? But whatever. This idea, there's a bit of a fight amongst the LSU fan base right now. It's almost like a civil war, right? You have this old conquering hero whose greatness is such that he is causing lines of division in the homelands. Have you seen any of this in like New Orleans on Football Comments? Have you got any of this? Do you have a take on what it means for Joe Burrow to be returning to the Dome?
No, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of it. You know, I'm afraid to answer this question because this is you know, a lot of LSU people listen to the show. You know, I don't know, I understand it. I think they should applaud these guys before the game. They did a lot. They mean a lot to the state. I mean, they had the best season in college football history. You know, even as somebody who's kind of indifferent to the results, like I had more fun watching college football that year than I ever have in my life. Like it was just a great team, a great story, great momentum, everything about it. And they made a lot of people happy, and people shouldn't forget that happiness. But also, like, the people cheer for the Falcons, like when Deion Jones was here, it's just kind of. I think you can support the individual, but if you're, it's the NFL. Like if you got your team, I think once the game starts, you kind of gotta pull for the team that you've always pulled for. If you got stronger LSU ties and that means more, I mean that's cool too. Like do your own thing, but I don't think it should be too difficult. I think it's like I said, it's the league now, and these guys are in the NFL
for sure. Hey,
diplomatically done.
T-Bob, I told you this.
Well
Look, I mean, I have my Chargers gear on today.
Yeah.
Cade York was lining up to kick a game-winning field goal for the Browns against the Chargers. I love Cade York. Cade and I did a film study together. He's a great young man. I was like waving at the TV trying to create some extra wind for that field goal to go.
Damn, dude.
On the other side of the uprights. And so, like, yeah, you can still cheer for your guys and have, hope they have success, but your team is your team.
Team is your team.
It is.
Yeah, send him a text afterwards. Tell him hey, I'm here for you. Let me know.
Keep your head up.
Yeah, exactly. Stay healthy. Keep your head up.
And give a little pat on the ass. Anyway. Nick Underhill, NewOrleans.football is the site. We're out of time. We didn't even get into the film review, but the film review piece right now is really good on the website. Also, Mike Triplett now on NewOrleans.football as well. So two of the absolute best. Go sign up today. It is well worth the subscription if you are a Saints fan. And, okay, last one then, Nick. Just give us a quick take on the Bengals game, how you see it lining up.
I'm going to go back to what I said to you guys last week. If the Saints can stop beating themselves, I think they can win this game. They got the win this week, but there was enough stuff in there that if they had played, a better opponent, I think that the result might not have turned out the way it did. So, got to stop fumbling. Got to stop having penalties. Once that happens, they can win consistently. So we'll see. If they don't beat themselves, I think they can win with or without Marshawn.
Getting to 3-3 would be so big, dude. We'll see. We will see. Desperate Bengals team coming to town. Nick Underhill, NewOrleans.football. Take it easy, Nick.
Yeah, I'll figure out how to get my camera working next time too. So sorry about that.
Oh, bro, we're good. We're good, dude. Thank you so much for your time. All right, when we get back, more on TV.